Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share my November TBR. And this month is all about catching up on my reading goals, catching up on my book box subscriptions, just reading all of the things, because I usually dedicate December to reading holiday rom-coms, and that just feels separate from everything else. So today's TBR is going to be done in 3 parts. We're going to talk about my mandatory books, my book club books, and Patreon picks, and then we're going to move on to the TBR jar and scratch off cards, and then we will finally have some other books that help me meet my goals, book box subscriptions, things like that. So for my book club picks, for my Patreon and Night Owl book club, I'm going to be reading The Grandest Game. This is for my Patreon read along of The Inheritance Game. I cannot believe we are up to The Grandest Game. I am so excited about this. This is kind of like a spin-off series of The Inheritance Game, and I think it's going to have all new characters, and yeah, I just know I'm going to love it. But I don't know too much about it except for what I can infer from the Inheritance Game series, what it's going to be about. Obviously, I don't have my physical copy yet, but I'm going into it with high expectations, and I can't wait to discuss it with my patrons. Next up for my podcast, I will be reading The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter. I'm going to be discussing this with Melissa on my podcast on December 2nd. So I need to have read this before that, obviously. So in November, I will be reading this. And this is a Knives Out, gets a rom-com twist in this rivals to lovers Christmas romance mystery. And that's all I really want to know. It is also fairly short, but I will be reading and discussing this for my podcast. So I would love for you guys to read along with me and be able to tune into that episode. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. For my in-person book club, Well Read, Badly Behaved VB, I am going to be reading The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is, all I know is it's kind of a cozy fantasy. I'm guessing there's a spell shop. I don't know too much, but I do know that that is super gorgeous. And I have seen the cover reveal of the second book, and it is also a very beautiful book. Let's see. A lush cottagecore tale full of stolen spell books, unexpected friendships, sweet jams, and even sweeter love. Aww. Wow. Okay. I'm excited. And then for my best friend Jessie's book club, Sleep When I'm Dead, they will be reading The Last One at the Wedding by 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔. And I'm definitely going to be reading this one. I did read Hidden Pictures. I enjoyed it for the most part, but not as much as some other people. So I'm hoping that this one like turns things around for me and I end up really, really liking it. But yeah, so those are the 4 mandatory-ish books that I want to read. I have already done my TBR jar picks and my scratch off cards, so let's go ahead and see what that has in store. I think we're gonna do 2 scratch off cards. Should I go for 4 from the TBR jar? 2 and 4. That seems fair. Let's do that. Okay, so we're gonna start with the scratch off cards first. These are ones that I just made myself on like scrapbook paper. So these are thrillers and these are romance. So should I pick one from each category? I think I should. So obviously I'm mixing these up. These are all books from a physical TBR. Let's go with, okay, we're gonna go with this one for romance, and we'll go with this one for thriller. Okay, let's see what we have in store. Okay, so for our thriller pick, oh no, what are we gonna have? Okay, this is perfect. This aligns with one of my goals. So the thriller pick is, I don't know if you can see that. The thriller pick is Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. This came out probably in January or February. And I was sent this to me on my birthday from Zoe, and I haven't read it yet. And it's a new release, and I want to get to it. So this is the first book. Okay, that was good. That was good. Okay, now we're gonna do our romance pick. In the weeds. In the weeds. Okay. This is perfect. I think it takes place during springtime, but it does have a very fall cover. So I also received this as a gift. And it says, "It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you virtually, from my patron, Sandra." And I also think I was going to read this to match my fall aesthetic, but I never got around to it. So now it is definitely time to read this. So going on the TBR. So these are our scratch off picks. Let's see what the TBR jar has in store for us. Okay. I said I'm choosing 4. Okay. First up is read a dark academia book. And I know which one I want to choose right away. I'm scared and nervous, but also excited. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Yep, it's gonna happen. I have been putting this book off for far too long. I just need to give it a go and see if it's for me. All right, it's going on the November TBR. This came from Angie. That was the prompt that Angie put in. Okay, let's see what else we have. Okay, next up, from Sharon, a book with an academic setting. So, okay, let me look what I have. Okay, I found the perfect book. I picked this up at the book exchange because I knew it happened around Thanksgiving, I think. But, so it's like a Thanksgiving romance. It's YA. But the very first line says, "Everyone at the Bexley School believes that Sage, Morgan, and Charlie Carmichael are meant to be." Perfect. Okay, academic setting. Check. Okay. So far, so good. So far, so good. This one. Nope, that's 2. This one. Okay. Okay, Tammy says, read a book set in a small town. Okay, Tammy, I think I have the book. Hopefully this one. Perfect. Perfect. A luminous, life-affirming novel set in an idyllic Connecticut town over the course of a year. Going on the TBR, A Little Hope by Ethan Joella. All right, next one. Okay. Then we have Jessie. A book that was recommended to you by one of your guests on the podcast. Okay, I brought over 3 options. So we have The Things We Keep by Sally Hepworth. This was recommended to me on the podcast from Keisha from A Book Like You. We have The House We Grew Up In by Lisa Jewell. This was recommended to me by Haley from Haley Hughes. And then I have Mile High by Liz Tomford, which was recommended to me by Nikki from Nikki Read That. So which one am I feeling? I think I'm gonna go with The Things We Keep. So, okay, The Things We Keep is going on the TBR. Okay, we have our 4 TBR jar picks. We have our 2 scratch offs, but now I have another stack of books that I would like to read in November. So first up, I have All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. Next, I have The Resort by Sarah. I don't know how to say this last name. I definitely need to look that up. It is a Book of the Month copy. Definitely need to read it before the end of the year. And then I have 2 aardvark books. Look in the Mirror by Catherine Steadman. Red River Road by Anna Downs. And then I have 2 memoirs. I would like to read one of them. I have Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry, R.I.P., and Spare by Prince Harry. I think I'm leaning towards the Matthew Perry because God rest his soul. Yeah, so I'm adding this to the November TBR. From the scratch off cards in the TBR jar, we have The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. This is a 2024 release, and that is part of my goal, is to read as many 2024 releases as I have on my shelves. I don't know. Deception Leaves a Killer Legacy. I know some of my friends have read this and they said it's kind of giving The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I don't want to read too much of the synopsis, but I do love this beautiful cover. And then we picked In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. I think I was supposed to read this already for one of my TBR jar picks, but I never did. I think this is maybe a second chance. Yes, a sweet and steamy second chance romance about finding your happiness. It features a grumpy farmer, a no-nonsense social media influencer, a small town of busybodies, and 4 very cute kittens. Then we're moving on to our TBR jar picks. I picked 4, so I went with Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo for an academia book, and this is very, very popular. It's Leigh Bardugo's mesmerizing adult debut, a tale of power, privilege, dark magic, and murder set among the Ivy League elite. Then I had another academic setting, Maybe Meant to Be by K.L. Walther. This is young adult. And it says, if Charlie and Sage are meant to be, why can't Sage stop kissing Charlie's brother? And why can't Charlie stop thinking about kissing the new boy at school? So I have read the previous 2 books by this author, so I definitely wanted to pick up this one. And this is perfect for November because I heard it's like a November Thanksgiving romance. Then for my small town, I picked A Little Hope by Ethan Joella. I picked this because it's Book of the Month. I also picked it because I loved Ethan Joella's book from this year, Same Bright Stars, I think it was called. And this is about a town in Connecticut over the course of a year and all the people and neighbors that live there. So very much looking forward to this one. And then I had to read a book that someone on my podcast recommended, and I'm going to go with The Things We Keep by Sally Hepworth because I did an author spotlight of Sally Hepworth. This one was very high on my TBR, but Keisha absolutely loved this one, and so obviously she recommends it. So yeah, so that is going on my TBR. Okay, the next set of books are all just the leftover books that I would love to get to in November, if at all possible. And there's actually quite a bit. So it is nonfiction November, so I definitely wanted to read at least one nonfiction, and I had two that I was trying to choose between, but I decided to read Matthew Perry's memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. God rest his soul. Yeah, it's, you know, behind the scenes of Friends, struggles with addiction. Yeah, powerful message of hope and persistence. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one, and it will probably make me cry. Yeah, I've definitely wanted to read more nonfiction this year, and the books that I ended up reading, I have met my goal of reading 3 nonfiction this year, but I've actually read more than that. But I was surprised at the nonfiction I was picking up, so I'm just happy I met my goal. And then I have 2 aardvark. This is completing my aardvark books that I have not read. Red River Road and Look in the Mirror. These are both thriller picks. I have read From Catherine Steadman before. This one is about a woman whose father dies and she's left something in his will, a gleaming dream comb in a balmy tropical paradise. She'll find out the hard way that you'll inherit from those you love can end up costing your life. Whoa. And then Red River Road, which is about a sister searching for her missing sister. Twist-filled journey into the dark side of solo female travel. And it explores what drives us to keep searching for those we have lost, the family bonds that can make or break us, and the deception of memory. And then I also have 2 more Book of the Month books that I would like to also cross off my TBR. The first one being The Resort. And this is one that I really didn't have on my radar until we did Bring Your Own Book over in the Night Owl Book Club. And my patron Madison brought this book and talked about it. And she sold so many of us on this book. But it says there are 3 rules to follow during a vacation at this famous resort. Leave the past behind, always be careful who you trust, and if someone discovers who you really are, run. So it is a thriller set in a tropical area, and I'm just really looking forward to that one. And then last but not least, All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. I'm sad I left this for November because, as you have seen, I have a lot of books on my November TBR, but I've heard mixed things about this. Some people have loved this, some people have not. But it's a thriller and an epic love story that spans decades. It's set in 1975, and it says it's a time of change in America. The Vietnam War is ending, Muhammad Ali is fighting Joe Frazier, and the small town of Montclair, Missouri, girls are disappearing. A missing person mystery, a serial killer thriller, a love story, a unique twist on each. All the Colors of the Dark is about what lurks in the shadows of obsession and the blinding light of hope. So, those are the books. I don't even think I can hold them up, to be honest. Okay, these are the books that I am hoping to read in November. Wow, who do I think I am? Yeah, wish me luck. So, let me know what is on your November TBR down in the comment section down below. And I just want to say that I hope everybody is having a wonderful day or night. And I will see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye, friends.